Yes, who is this?
This is Aquapig.
Aquapeg.
I had a question for your positions. Do you typically aim for swings or intraday trades for the positions that you usually alert to?
We have only, I'm intraday trader. I mean, I don't swing much unless, for example, today that we had this deduct on the challenge. And what I suggest for most of the members is that the only reason that you swing, because you have to define, if you are an intraday trader, you have to be cash the next day, regardless of no matter what, right? So when you swing is because that play is already a runner, and runner means that that if you lose it, you just lose part of your profits. That is the main idea. So I don't pick my trades because I base my trades on the 10-minute chart, not on the 1 hour or daily. So I cannot say that it can become a swing or not, right?
I see. So you start with 10-minute and not daily.
I use my hourly and daily to support my intraday trading, but everything that I call during the day is aimed to be closed the same day.
Does it have to be on a certain EMA line for you to kind of confirm that's the trade?
No, it's more related to the levels that I previously set overnight, and as you have seen, I rely a lot of on alerts the previous day on previous day highs breaks, and intraday I look for flags breaks. For example, I would say you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
For example, a flag break will be like, for example, this one. It broke here, then you take it long here. That type, the times that I take it not on the top but on the dip is because I'm looking for trend breaks.
Even if there's like a little volume, it's okay.
Obviously, volume always helps to, for example, this, how can I tell you? I mean, it's like you can go a little bit. I try to be, and probably I have seen this a lot of from you, because I try to be not too technical. I mean, it's you have to also manage yourself, not by emotions but by feel. And to be honest, I'm not always looking exactly. This is the 4, 3, 3.5, 0.4. I mean, it's more like you're following several things. You're following that the underline it has volume. It's within your scanners. It's respecting certain support and resistance that for me is more importantly. For example, BDOC here respected this 133.91. And when I say respected, yes, it came here all the way down, but it came very closely plus minus. So I'm not, you cannot be precise and too technical in the way that, okay, if it breaks this, I'm not that way. I mean, it's and probably you can say that I'm not a technical trader or whatever, but I don't put myself in this predicament very often, because at the end of the day, what it most matters is price action. So your EMAs and everything is just a recollection of past price action, right? And what is more importantly is what you see forward, not only in price action, but also in chatter and what is happening and the volume and open interest on the certain options that you're taking, because that is another thing. Another thing is flow, option flow. So I take many things in consideration. It's not only one in a specific EMA level, right? So my suggestion, I mean, I'm more loose in that regards. I mean, I'm not as I don't like rules, so I just try to be as stick as possible to the fundamentals, but I don't write them in stone, right? So I don't know if that answer your.
Yeah.
Anybody else, guys? Questions about ToS? Because I don't have any specific topic to talk about. I just was waiting for your questions, things that you're not able to ask in trading hours. So this is the time to do it. Please jump in.
What do you use to execute your orders? So I think you mentioned before you don't use active trader, so you just go in and just buy the standard option.
I mean, I use the option chain as everybody. I mean, what can I, for example, let me change this. I use, can you see my option chain here?
Yeah, I can see that.
I use this. The only difference, okay, sorry, it went where it went. It went otherwise. Sure. Okay, where are you? You're here. For example, here's the option chain, right? Forget about this. What I use is the option chain. I've got directly. I usually have a certain templates of what I want to see: implied volatility, volume, probability of touch, data, delta. And every time that I execute a trade, what I do is I do it as a self, as a custom, and I have a bracket already. So at least I have a 30% down stop and 90. And that is the one that I put at the beginning. I shoot it, and then I adjust it for whatever the circumstances are. But, and I have it as a template. So I just said, for example, here a trade that it says buy it at 150. Of course, you're gonna go in between, right? You're gonna try to look, but and you're gonna sell it at least one contract when it hits 90%, or you're gonna stop on minus 30%. And I put it for one option only. So that gives me an alert that if it triggers, at least I know what to do with the rest, right? Or stop the rest, or and that is why I always, and of course this is based on my risk reward, right? I mean, 30% more or less is my what I told you that I was, for a starter, what I was willing to lose, and that's about it. It's active trader. I mean, I do have it, but to be honest, it's for me, it's easier to go here directly and manage my trades this way. But because I always have this option chain open on one of my my monitors. So I go, and these chains are linked to my graphs, so into my scanners. So I can go very easily, and for example, I just put here, if I put it in my room here, I go to any stock that I have on my scanner, and right now I'm going to my scanner and see how quickly I can go to all of them. So I can see them very quick. DLL, docs, DTM, dual, I mean, everything is linked, right? So in other words, for example, I can put it here. So you can see it. If this is my scanner, and this is my option change, what I just go is go through them, and I have them here. See?
Got it. Yeah, that's pretty helpful.
And that's very quick. And I also can have it linked to one of my graphs, right? I mean, at the same time, if you want to have and that's what I do, and that's what I have so many monitors and everything. I mean, you can put also a graph here. You just link it to the same, and that's what I do. That's what I go fast to see what is going on, right? Here, here, here. Just scroll down, and I can go one by one, very quick. I already seen what is happening, and I already have my option chain linked to it. So see, so that is very important for you to have some monitor with your option chain, your graph, and your scanner or whatever, your watch list linked. So you can go very quickly, and instead of typing down the underline, you can go as fast as you can. That, I don't know if that helped or answer your question.
Yeah, that was helpful. Thank you.
I had a question about levels.
Mm-hmm.
On the daily, when we're charting like the levels, I'm trying to figure out whether I should be putting the levels at the end of a wick or at the end of a body, or just
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's very the important. For example, the dog levels on the daily here is not about body or weeks. It's about how many other candles meet that point is what matters. So for example, let's put it more complicated where we can do it like here.
I can find a lot of intersections.
Here, for example, you have to see in this level, everything from here to there goes down, right? So right now, this one is not exactly on this wick. This one is in the body, but from that point, how many ups and down candles you have touching that level? Because at the end of the day, and more if it's a daily, it's not that important that you have to be precise. This is the exact, I mean, you just need a level where you know that you're gonna find resistance or support. So it can be wicks, it can be body, but the most important thing is that at least you have 3 or 4 or 5 candles hitting that target and going in the rejecting the level, right?
So if I find something in a similar range, I just have to do the counting between the two. Let's say
Yes.
I
As many hits you have on that line, that is a more strong support or resistance level. So you need to find a level where you hit the most candles as you can, regardless if it's wicks, bodies, right? Because you know that there that the price is gonna react on the opposite way, right?
Do you ever use Fibonacci retracements for the?
Yes, I use Fibonacci's a lot, and sometimes you don't see it, but I use it for specific targets when I see an uptrend. For example, from here to here, I just put here to see how much it can retract. Actually, these levels are not Fibonacci's, but are based on, I use it like a ruler. Hold on. Sorry, guys, somebody was knocking on the door. And, but yeah, Fibonacci retracements also, how can I mean, let me show you. A Fibonacci retracement, how would I use it? Charts. You see this new chart?
Yeah.
This is a Fibonacci retracement, right? So what I try to do is, okay, what was the last previous day? So what I do for tomorrow, for example, is probably is something here from the lows. Let me put it here from the lows to the highs. We already had here, we had our 61.8, right? So I use it for levels. Yeah, they work, but just for levels in order to know support and resistance levels. You can use it on a day. You can use it on a candle. Okay, this is for example, this one retrace from here to here, and you can use it there as well. That'll work, right? But I don't use Fibonacci just to, okay, I mean, it's a good way to find support and resistance levels. And that's how I use them.
Right.
With the same fundamentals that if it goes, you put 1 to 0 and it retrace usually to the 50 or the 61.8 and all that. But I'm not a Fibonacci lover, but I use them because I know that they work. I mean, algos are linked to Fibonacci, so some reason. I mean, it's a good way to have. For example, here, I mean, we can do something here very interesting. We have this one from high to low, and we saw that. What can I say here? Okay, that we're hitting the 50. Probably we're gonna go to the 61.8, and from there we're gonna continue the next leg down, right? So I can set a price to buy here, to buy short, looking for at least the 10% or the following levels. So yes, you can use it. Hope it helped.
Yes, it did.
So yes, they always are helpful for support and resistance levels all the time. Anybody else? Nine Tanks, Alfred, Bobby, Lambert. Meep, TMH, Victor.
Actually, since nobody's asking, since sometimes you get into a higher, like buying it kind of the top. Um, if it hits your reward or risk stop limits, do you just stop out there and then just rebuy if it's lower, considering that you already like it?
Sometimes, other times I just look for another trigger. I mean, I don't get married with one underline. If for some reason I get stopped and I don't have a other alert on that ticket, so I just wait for the next alert that I already have set previous days or weeks before. Or if that underline it's really having a lot of volume action during the day, yes, I follow up and re-enter again. But again, I mean, it's sometimes people don't do that because they have a small port, and since they have to sell, they cannot get in again because they have to wait for the next day or the intraday pattern. So that is a no, right? I mean, it's if I can do it. So yes, I always, at the end of the day, everything that makes sense makes sense. But usually, if I don't have the results on that underline on the first, second try, I just look for other options that might have a better probability of success.
Okay.
But it's good to stick with one. It's easier to manage and more if you are sometimes you are I don't know, if you always play Amazon, you know how it reacts, right? So
Nice.
there's also that theory that is very good to know that if you already know a underline, there are people that only play 10 tickets, right? Because they already know how the price behaves and usually the patterns that they project and perform repeats in the future. So that is another way to do it. I don't even have, I have a couple of 2 or 3 that I'm good at it, like EMH, Zoom, and probably one other, Neo sometimes, but I never marry any because the market is changing every day, and more now that we have a lot of rotation in order to keep this market going up, and with all this an obscene amount of money getting to the market, they are rotating all the time, so you don't have a cyclical behavior like we used to have before, right?
Yeah. Amazon tends to be choppy on a longer time frame.
Mhm. For example, I'm very bad at Tesla and Amazon, and Tesla. I'm always trying to play it because I wanna. It's more like trying to get better on it, but and Boeing. That's my other headache.
Tesla's
Those
pretty good.
are very betrayable underlines, and that are others that are very novel. I mean, sometimes you play some that they just respond beautifully to your settings and, and but all depends. I'm not all the time they are set up for a trade. So, but at the end of the day, the most important part, and again, I cannot stress that enough, is how do you manage your risk, right? I mean, I always just make sure that I don't lose more than a certain amount per trade, period, because I know that I'm gonna get good ones that are gonna be okay. So for me, that is more important. That is what I don't pay too much attention to specifics or to be very structural on technicals, right? Because it's more important for me to take care of my risk. Anybody else? So it seems that everybody joined, but nobody wanted to ask.
I can keep asking if nobody else asks.
I know you can. Shoot.
So we have levels which we follow, and then there's EMA lines. How do we know if there's enough strength for like a bounce on like a support level? Is it like, because I look
Vo-
at volume profile,
vol-
I look
Volume, but not more volume profile, but volume intraday.
volume intraday.
Volume intraday, relative strength towards the S&Ps. That is very. If the S&Ps are if this underline is behaving, for example, today the S&Ps were like worthless, right? Today was a day that you cannot see the S&Ps and nothing happens, right? Because it's not moving, but also the relative strength factor is very, very important, and more importantly, the relative volume that the underline has comparing of the previous 30 days. If that underline has 1.5, 2, 3, 4 times more volume than on average on the previous 30 days, you know that underline has potential to move, because it has attention from many people.
When you talk about volume, you're looking at 10 minutes.
When I'm talking about volume during trading, it's 10 minutes. When I'm talking about relative volume, I'm talking about the relative volume in the day comparing to the previous 30 days.
I see. What I struggle with is like midday, where things slow down and this volume just seems relatively low compared to open other power hours. So in those type of situations, how do we know?
I would suggest you to do not get involved in new or trades, or get out if they're not looking bad after the 3 hours of the opening, and focus on the last 2 or 1.5. Because whatever it happens, mostly all the time, whatever it happens on the lunchtime, the way they call it, is not gonna be the result of the close or what happened to the open. So I would say that put your most of your resources and attention in the first 3 hours, and relax a couple of hours after that, and be ready for the closing. I would say that. I mean, I don't know if I don't take a break, or at least I stepped out, or I don't talk for 2 hours, because there's not much to do. I mean, it's just like nothing is gonna happen. If something pops, it's gonna come down again, because there's no volume. I mean, this is 80% of the times, not all the time. Sometimes you have some nice runners during lunchtime, but those cases are very, very unique. So
Okay.
anybody else? Come on, Joe, cheer up the people to ask something. If not, I can have lunch. I don't have a problem. We can wrap it up. And
Can I just get your quick thoughts on like SPY and ES? So it's been relatively flat, but I don't know if you were looking at like the gamma levels and kind of how they've been fluctuating last few days.
yes, and it's an interesting question as well. But the gamma levels here, Let's look at them.
I brought more SPY puts today, but I don't know if we end up being too early, so we'll see.
I mean, nobody knows, of course, right? I mean, this is not but what I see here is that it's been struggling too much to get and to break this combo 4 level, and the next resistance is all the way down to 44.44, as well as the 50 MA. So that's what I like it too. Since it's rejected here a lot, you have more edge on the downside than on the upside. I mean, on the upside, you have towards 44.93 at most, but on the downside, you have 44.44. So that doesn't mean that it's gonna go down. But if you ask me if I'm gonna put a trade here, should I be calls or puts? And the answer is very simple. I put a put here with a stop loss on here, looking for all these target, right?
Yeah, the risk reward's better for puts here.
There is reward. So at the end of the day, you have to follow your trading in terms of where do you have more edge. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but at least you have to play with better odds, right? So right now, the risk reward is more on the downside. If it's going to happen tomorrow, next week, we don't know, but at least you're playing a logical risk reward setup, right? And of course, I put my puts and everything here around here, and between here and here is my stop. But if you see this, so I'm risking this to gain all this. This is like 5 to 1, right? So it makes sense.
Plus September's coming up too.
So that is the logic that you have to follow regarding the gamma levels and everything. Is just use them as support and resistance levels, and the next what I see here is that we are below the combo 4, and the next support is for the large gamma 2s. On the upside is large gamma 1, which is very close. So that's my play. And we've been, besides that, we have this, right? We've been just, what we have to look is when we're gonna break this that we're about to, your uptrend. That is always important to have. So when we break this, now we have room to this. The problem is that we didn't have that break on during the day, so just put it overnight, hoping that this happens, and now you have your next leg down target, right? Of course, the first one is going to be here, regardless of the gamma levels. You know that are not going to be very strong because you don't have anything, right? There's no candles here. So very likely you go all the way down here. Actually, here is the next level. If you can see here, I would say it's here, which is concise with the level low that we had for the range today. So it's not how you do it. I mean, it's just a matter of taking your best chances. Of course, there's always, could be all the way, and we can even go up all the way here. But at least my next resistance is closer to my next support. So the place on the downside.
And since these are like swing positions, you're basing it off the hourly chart for the EMA levels.
Yeah. I mean, I am using the 1 hour in this regards, as you can see. The the gamma levels, they are the same on the 10 and the 1 hour, right? But it gives me a clearer picture. I don't get distracted because at the end of the day, if I'm looking to swing, which what we did with the SPY put,